Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, we're the brothers from the Feed My Flock Church, and we have a very great lesson for you today. We're going to start off with Brother Ron reading out of the law from Exodus chapter 20.
Exodus chapter 20, starting at verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High, thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other powers before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Most High thy power, is a jealous power, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Most High thy power in vain. For the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days shall thy labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Most High thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For the 6th day the Most High made heaven and earth and sea, and all that is in them is, and rested on the 7th day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy day may be long upon the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Amen.
All praise. All praise.
All right, so the title of today's lesson is Prepare Thy Soul for Temptation. As we look around the world today, we see it very unstable. We don't know when World War III is going to start. We don't know when the next storm is going to hit. We don't know when the famine or plague is going to strike. We prep for these things, but are we prepping our souls to go through the tough times? Are we prepping our souls to go through these tough times? First scripture today, we're going to be at 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 12.
Second Timothy, chapter 3, verse 12. Yea, and all that will give godly in Christ Yeshua shall suffer persecution.
It says, yea, and all that will live godly in Christ shall suffer persecution. I want us to think about that. You got to live godly in Christ. Okay? But let's look at this word temptation. The title of the lesson, Prepare Thy Soul for Temptation. So temptation is G3986 in the Strongs. Pyrosmos from G3985, a putting to proof by experiment of good experience of evil, solicitation discipline, or provocation, by implication, adversity, temptation. And it said that it came from G 3985. Let's see what G 3985 says. Pyrazo, to test, that is, endeavor, scrutinize, entice. Discipline, essay, examine, go about, prove, tempt, to try. We're going to learn something today. Everything that we go through, it's a test. Everything. Let's start off in Job chapter 1, verse 13, and we'll read through verse 20. Actually, through 21 or 22. Sorry.
The book of Job, chapter 13, or chapter 1, verses 13 through 22. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing, and the donkeys feeding beside them. And the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of the Most High is fallen from heaven, and hath burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshiped and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. And the Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And all this Job sinned not, nor charged the Most High foolishly.
Okay. So you see everything that just happened to Job and his family. Okay. He lost his kids. He lost all his substance. He lost all these things. But listen to what Job says in verse 21. He said, and said, naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. All that he went through, he still blessed the Most High. In verse 22, it says, in all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Let's look at that charge God foolishly. Let's go to Romans 9, and 20.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 20. Nay, but, O man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus?
Okay. So now you see here where Paul is saying, nay, but oh man, who art thou that replies against God? See, Job didn't reply us against God. He said, shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made thou thus? Job sinned not. He did not ask God, why have you made me this way? Why did you put this on me? He didn't ask God that. Job was upright, perfect in the sight of the Most High. And the Most High still had to put him through that. Why? He's an example for us. He's an example for us to say, okay, if Job can go through it, I can go through it. No matter how hard it is, I can't sin. So we go through things in this life and it's like, this happened to me, let me run to the bottom. Or let me go do these drugs. We get drunk. Next thing after we get drunk, it's something else it leads to. You know, you driving drunk and now you crash your car and you kill somebody. All because of what you went through or what you're going through. Now you locked up. You done made your estate even worse. Okay. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 2. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Most High thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no.
There you go. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Most High thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness. They had to serve 40 years in the wilderness before they can go to the promised land. And there was only a handful that made it. And what did he say? I put you through this to humble thee and to prove thee. He had to test them. They just couldn't go in there, oh, there's the promised land, we're going right on in. No, he had to test them. Why did he have to test them? Whether they would keep his commandments or not. See, we go through things so God can see if we're going to keep his commandments. Okay? Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13.
First Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 13. There hath no temptation taken you but such as in common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
Okay, so there has no temptation taken you, but such as common to man. There's nothing new under the sun. There's somebody somewhere going through the same thing that you're going through. The same trial, the same test. But he makes a way out. Let's go to 1 Peter 4 and 12.
First Peter, chapter 4, verse 12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you.
And so some strange thing has happened to you, right? It's nothing strange. Now let's go to 1 Peter 1 and 7.
First Peter, chapter 1, verse 7. That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold, that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yeshua Christ.
So this whole trial is the trial of your faith. Your faith is more precious than gold. Though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor. That's why we're going through this. He's cleaning us up while we're going through it. But we have to be willing to go through it. Okay? Let's go back to Job chapter 23, verse 10. And listen to what Job has to say.
The book of Job, chapter 23, verse 10. But he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold.
Okay. Let's go to Proverbs 17 and 3.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 3. The finding pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord trieth the hearts.
Okay, so the finding pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tries your heart. How does he try your heart? Through the things that you go through, the temptations that you go through, all the struggle that you go through in your life. That's him trying your heart. I don't have enough money for this, but I need it. Am I going to go steal? No. Are you going to have enough courage to ask your brother or sister for help? Humility. Go to the next scripture. going to go to Romans chapter 5, verse 2 through 4.
The book of Romans, chapter 5, verses 2 through 4. By whom also we have access by faith into this grace wherein we stand and rejoice in hope of the glory of the Most High. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope.
Listen to what he says in verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations. We have to glory in those tough times. Also knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience. As more we go through, the more experience we have. The more experience we get, the more we can help somebody else going through a situation. When we go through things in this life, we have to remember that we are being put through the furnace. We just have to have patience. Let's go to James chapter 1, verse 12.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
Blessed is the man that endures temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life. That's why we're going through what we're going through. We're going through what we're going through so we can get that crown of life. And he says, which the Lord has promised to them that love him. If you love me, keep my commandments. That's what the love of God is. Not this feeling. You know, you have that feeling, but it's also your action. Let's go to Psalms 94 and 12.
The book of Psalms, chapter 94, verse 12. Blessed is the man whom thou chastenest, O Lord, and teaches him out of thy law.
Okay, so now Job went through his ordeal just for a trial, just a trial. Job was an upright man. But some of us, we're going to go through this chastisement. Why? Because we broke the commandments. Let's go to Job chapter 5 and 17. And just to touch on Psalms 94 and 12, it says, blessed is the man who thou chastisest, O Lord, and teaches him out of thy law. So when you're going through something and you might not know what it is, you might want to go back to the law. Because if you go back to the law and you read it, he's going to reveal it to you. This is why I'm chastising you. This is why you're going through what you're going through. This is the commandment that you broke. I told you not to commit adultery. I told you not to steal. I told you not to fornicate. I told you not to do these things and you're doing them. So guess what? Now I gotta whip you. It's a consequence. Job 5:17. Did we just read them?
No.
Okay.
The book of Job, chapter 5, verse 17. Behold, happy is the man whom the Most High correcteth. Therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty.
Now let's go to Proverbs 3:11 through 12. Because he said something, and he said, despise not the chastening of the Almighty.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 11 and 12. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth.
Okay. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth. If you're going through something, if you're doing something and he's correcting you, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
If you're going through that punishment, that's a good thing. He said, don't be worried about it. Don't worry about it because you did it. It's like when you're living at home with your parents, your father, and he tells you, don't dot that door after 12. And you do it anyway. Knowing that's the curfew. Don't come in here after 12. But you do it anyway. You ain't worried about the punishment. It's the same thing with the Most High. Don't worry about it. Because I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. So when you're doing whatever you're doing out there, you better not be worried about the punishment because he's going to punish you. Okay? So it says, even as the Father loves the Son, he delighted. See, there's people out there doing all kinds of stuff. They ain't being touched right now. All kinds of sins going on. And they just living it up, living their best life. And nothing's happening to them. But it's a judgment day coming. When you close your eyes and you take that last breath, that's when it starts. You'd rather be chastised on this side than the next side, than the other side. Let's go to Acts chapter 8. One through 3.
The book of Acts, chapter 8, verses 1 through 3. And Saul was consenting unto his death. And at that time there was a great persecution against the church, which was at Jerusalem. And they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial, and made great lamentation over him. As for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house, and hailing men and women, committed them to prison.
Okay. So now we get a little story about Saul. Turns into Paul, okay? But listen to verse 3. As for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entered into every house and hauling men and women, committed them to prison. This is what Paul was doing. See, Paul was the Pharisee of Pharisees, right? Paul knew the law up and down, but Paul didn't know how to love. Paul didn't know how to love his neighbors. Let's go to Acts chapter 9 and 4.
The book of Acts, chapter 9, verse 4. And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me?
All right, so now we're about to see the conversion. We're about to see what's going to happen to Paul, okay? We know Paul was great in the sight of the Most High. But here's Christ saying, Saul, Saul, why persecute thou me? We read earlier in Acts, he was persecuting the church. He was persecuting the assembly, okay? So if you're going to come follow Christ, you're going to come follow me, you're going to have to go through something. You're going to have to pay for what you did to my assembly. See, Paul didn't get off scot-free. Paul put all this work in, but we're about to see what's going to happen to Paul. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 16.
Second Corinthians, chapter 11, verses 16 through 29. I say again, let no man think me a fool. If otherwise, yet as a fool receive me, that I may boast myself a little.
So he's saying, let me boast just a little bit. And you're going to see why he just said, he's going to say just a little bit. Okay, keep going.
Verse 17. That which I speak it not after the Lord, but as it were foolishly, in this confidence of boasting. Seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also. For ye suffer fools gladly, seeing ye yourselves are wise. For ye suffer, if a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face. I speak as concerning reproach, as though we had been weak. Howbeit, whensoever any is bold, I speak foolishly. I am bold also. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I.
Okay, so right here, you're seeing what Paul is going through, okay? He's talking about these false teachers. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about himself. He's talking about the false teachers. He's telling them they're going to lead you down the path of destruction. But now let's go to verse 23.
Verse 23. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more, in labors more abundant,
Okay, now this is Paul talking about himself now.
in stripes above measures, in prisons more frequent, in
So-
deaths of oft.
So he says, in labors more abundant. I got more labors than they do. He says, in stripes above measure, in prison more frequent, and as close as death more often. Now, you're about to see. Let's go to verse 24.
Verse 24. Of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep. In journeyings often, in pearls of waters, in pearls of robbers, in pearls by my own countrymen, in pearls by the heathen, in pearls in the city, in pearls in the wilderness, in pearls in the sea, in pearls among false brethren, in weariness and painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fasting often, in cold and nakedness. Besides those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. Who is weak, and I am not weak? Who is offended, and I burn not?
Okay. So now you see all the stuff that Paul had to go through? See, there's consequences for your actions. Okay? And now you're seeing the consequences for Paul's actions. But he didn't let go of that cloud. He said, of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, minus 1. 5 times. He got whipped 5 times with the whip. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was he stoned. In traveling, often in pearls of water, in pearls of robbers, in pearls by my own countrymen, in pearls by the heathen, and pearls in the city. See, he got it from all sides. It wasn't just the people that he was persecuting. He got it also from the Gentiles as well. And verse 27 said, in weariness and painfulness, in watching often, in hunger and thirst, he was starved too. In fasting often, in cold and nakedness. Besides those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily. Those things were happening to him every day. And he says, who is weak? And I am not weak. Who is offended? And I burn not. Paul is saying, I was enticed to sin. That's what he means by who is offended. Of these things was going through, and he says, I am burnt not. What does that burn mean? He did not get angry. Be angry and sin not. Paul didn't even get angry. Through all the stuff that he was going through, he knew he had to take it. Let's go to verse 30.
Verse 30. If I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities.
He says, if I must need glory, I will glory of the things which concern my infirmities. See, he's not talking about sickness. He's not talking about those infirmities. He's talking about the things that he had to go through. Okay? Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 5 and 6.
First Corinthians chapter 12, verses 5 and 6. Of such a one will I glory, yet of myself I will not glory, but in mine infirmities. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he seen me to be, or that he heareth of me.
Okay, so remember, he said, I will boast just a little bit. Because he had to be very careful about boasting. Okay? But he says, of such one I will glory, yet of myself I will not glory, but in my infirmities. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But now I forbear, for now I take what the Most High has given me. He has to take it. Lest any man should think of me above that which he sees me to be, or that he hears me to be. Say, I can't get puffed up in this thing. I can't get raised up above my brothers and sisters. All right? I got to be put down to that level so I can be an example to them. Okay? I got to show you how to go through this turmoil. I got to show you, because here in a little while, you're going to go through something. And I have to show you. So I'm not going to boast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be that example for you. Job put up with these things that was done to him. Job put up with these things that was done to him, right? We're not talking about Paul. We're talking about Job now. And what did his wife say? His wife said, just curse God and die. Just curse God and die. You don't have to go through, just why are you going through all this? Just God, take my life. No. Job said, I'm going to go through this. I'm not going to be foolish. Second Corinthians 12:7-8.
Verse 7. And least I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Most High thrice, that it might depart from me.
Okay, so listen to what he's saying. He said, and least I should be exalted above through the abundance of revelation, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh. What's that thorn in the flesh? The messenger of Satan to buffet me. Paul had a demon on. He had an evil spirit on. He said, for this thing, I besought the Lord thrice. He went to the Lord 3 times that it might depart from him. Let's go to verse 9 and see what Christ said.
Verse 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me.
Okay, so Christ tells him, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Through your tribulations shows his strength. For you persevering and you going through what you're going through and you making it shows Christ's strength. It's nothing that you do. It's Christ. Is you leaning on Christ, he's going to build you up. He's going to get you through that tough moment. He said, my grace is sufficient for thee. See, Paul could have got killed a long time ago for the things that he done to the church. The Most High could have took him out the way, but he didn't. Let me have mercy on you, and so I can show everybody else what I can do. My grace is sufficient. Okay? Let's go to Matthew chapter 5, 10 and 11.
the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 10 through 11. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name, for my sake.
So Paul had to go through this persecution. He had to be tempted just like everybody else. Just like Christ had to endure the end, we also must endure to the end. Put through adversity. It says, blessed are they that are persecuted for righteousness' sake. For righteousness' sake. Not persecuted for your sin, but for righteousness. The righteousness that you're doing. Okay? If you're getting persecuted for your sin, that's God correcting you. But if you're getting persecuted for righteousness, what is your reward? The kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall rebel you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. They did that to Paul. Paul, they say that you ain't keeping the law. Paul, they saying that you telling people that they can eat whatever they want to eat. Paul, they're saying that you don't worry about the Sabbath day. All the stuff they were doing to Paul. Paul never taught against what Christ taught. But he had to go through that. Now we're going to go to the Apocrypha, Sirach, chapter 2, and we're going to read the whole chapter. And this Ecclesiastes is in the red book, and this is the Apocrypha, King James Version. Okay, and Christ has a lot of quotes or sayings from the Apocrypha. We're going to Sirach chapter 2. Okay, thank you.
Sirach, chapter 2. My son, if thou came to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whosoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully.
Take it what?
Cheerfully.
Read.
And be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversary or adversity.
Adversity.
Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old, and see, did ever any trust in the Lord, and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him?
Okay, so now you see in verse 10, it says, look at the generations of old. We just looked at Job. Look at the three guys in Daniel that was put in the furnace. Look at Moses. Look at Joseph. Think about Joseph. Joseph went through his brothers selling him into captivity. His brothers, his own flesh and blood brothers, through jealousy. Their father loved him more. So we look at the generations of past to get us through what we're going to go through. Okay? Let's read.
Verse 11. For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction.
So he saves us in the times of affliction.
Verse 12. Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you?
Woe to you that have lost patience. Woe to you that lost patience. Woe to you that just gave up. He said, I will provide you a way out. But you gave up. Read.
Verse 15. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law.
Okay. So now, they that fear the Lord will not disobey his word. And they that love him will keep his ways. No matter what you're going through, you better keep his ways. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him. And how do you seek that? Through the scriptures, through the word. Let me find out. Let me turn over here and see what was pleasing to the Most High. Oh, love thy neighbor. Okay, let me work on that one. Okay, let me see what that means. Let me see how to follow that commandment. Read.
Verse 17. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight.
They will prepare their hearts. Let's prepare our soul for temptation. Read.
Verse 18. Saying, we will fall into the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy.
Saying, we will fall into the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. Go to Matthew 10 and 28.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Soul and body in hell. goes right back to Sirach. Let's go to Revelations 2 and 10.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Right now, you're seeing what they call it, alligator Alcatraz. He's talking about opening up the real Alcatraz. And right now, it's just for immigration. Right now, it's just for immigration. But what happens later? What happens after they send everybody else back? What happens when you start following Christ? Persecution. So you tell me after you send everybody back, you're going to tear down that stuff? No. See, it's a bigger agenda. Right now, they're just trying to see, are you going to say anything? Are you going to be complicit? That's what they're trying to see right now. Are you just going to sit back and you're not going to say a thing? These people are being shipped off. It's not me. That's us being complicit. But then what's going to happen when it happens to you? What's going to happen when you, oh, I'm following Christ? For none of these things that which thou shalt suffer, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So if you end up in prison, or we end up in prison, we got to be faithful. We got to be faithful. We can't get weary. Can't be worried about those things. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 6 and 7.
First Peter, chapter 1, verses 6 and 7. Wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yeshua Christ.
Wherein ye greatly rejoice through, though now for a season, if need be. See, we got to rejoice. Ye are in heaviness through manifold temptation. It's heavy. It's going to cause a problem in your life. That the trial of your faith, Lord, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. But you got to keep it. You got to hold on to it. Think about the ancestors during slavery. They still kept that faith. They didn't kill themselves. They went through that. That's an example for us. They was given a book. They didn't even know how to read. But they still believed. They still held on to that faith. They sang them spirituals. They went through all that stuff. They sang those spirits, they were still having kids. Knowing what their kids were going to go through. They kept that faith. See, patience is endurance. So if we focus on what Christ went through for us, just think about that. Think about that. Think about that, what he said on the cross. He said, forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they do. He suffered all that for us. So I guess what that means? We got to suffer for him. Let's go to Daniel 12 and 10.
The book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand.
Many shall be purified and made white and tried. See, we go through that baptism, we think the trial is over with. No, the trial just started. See, we went through that purification. We went to being made white. But now it's time for the trial. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Us in this book, when we see all this turmoil and everything that's going on around us, we know what's going on. The wicked don't understand it. The wicked don't understand why we're going through war. The wicked does not understand why they're making these camps. They have no clue. They just think it's going to hold the illegals. You are not going to be raptured out of this. It says, upon all the world, everybody that dwells on earth is going to go through this. Everybody. You sitting there, you waiting, oh, yeah, I'm a Christian, and the Most High is he's gonna rapture me out of all this. What we just read. You gotta go through some tribulations. You gotta prove yourself. So you just think you ain't did nothing, you ain't proved yourself to nobody, and the Most High just gonna take you away. Nah. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3, verse 11 and 12.
The book of Revelation, chapter 3, verses 11 and 12. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my power, and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my power. And I will write upon him my new name.
It says, behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God. See, you got to overcome. See, it ain't nobody coming to get you. Right? He said, him that overcomes, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God. And he should go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, Ahia, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven. So if it's coming down, where you going? Yeah, we're going to meet Christ in the air, but that's for war. The dead will rise first. That's for war. The dead in Christ will rise first. Excuse me. Let's go to verse 13.
Verse 13. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit said unto the churches.
He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the assembly. To the assembly. See, we're not going to get through this by ourselves. See, we need the assembly.
Right.
We need the assembly to lift us up. You ain't gonna make it by yourself. That's what the devil wants you, by yourself. As believers, we must take what the Most High gives us patiently. We must prepare thy soul for whatever comes our way. Some things that come our way might be for correction. Some might just be a trial by fire to see if you will fold under pressure. Job and Paul are perfect examples of this. If we can focus on Christ and what he went through, for us, we can conquer anything. Whatever comes our way, we can't complain about it. Remember, God starved the Israelites in the wilderness to prove them.
Right.
What are we going to do when they starve us out? What are we going to do when death is all around us? What are you going to do when you're not able to buy or sell? When you take that mark? That's all I have for us today. I hope it was a blessing. I hope it opened some eyes. I pray that it opens some eyes. Okay? And with that, we're going to end. We're going to pray out and keep enjoying our Sabbath.
Repeat after me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thine will be done. On earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. As we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom
And the power.
and the power
And the glory.
and the glory
Forever.
forever.
Amen.
Amen. I'll be glad.